Hi guys, so today I'm here to talk about psychic vampires and protection and why I believe in energy work and Reiki. So this is a story that happened to me a few months ago. I was at a psychic fair and I was really excited for the psychic fair because they had all these free classes and so I brought a notebook and I brought 2 pens just in case one ran out, and I brought a water bottle. And I got there a little bit early, and I sat down. There was a bunch of psychics there, and I just felt pulled to one in particular. And I had some time before the classes started, so I sat down with her and I let her read my face. It was something like that. It was an okay reading. And then I had to go to class. So the first class was on crystal grids, using crystals for healing in this grid formation. And I was really interested in the class because I didn't know much about it. So I sat down, and the class was made up of like these huge long tables that were kind of in like a square around the perimeter of the class. And I sat down, and across from the room was a bunch of other people, and in the middle of this square of tables was the woman who was giving the class. So I sat down, and across from me, across from the room in the other square tables, was this guy who was wearing a baseball hat and sunglasses in the class. And he was a little bit kitty corner to me, but he positioned his chair just so, and he was staring at me, and I could tell even with the sunglasses he was looking directly at me, and I didn't think much of it at the time. I was like, well, you know, I'm younger, he's younger, maybe he finds me attractive or something, maybe he'll talk to me after class. I didn't think more than that at the time. So the teacher starts going on, and she's talking about using these different symbols and putting the crystals in certain places for healing or for this or for that. And this guy just won't stop staring at me. So at this point I'm getting just slightly uncomfortable, but nothing too much. And then he ends up raising his hand. This is the only time he looked away from me. He looked at the teacher for like a second to ask this question. He says something along the lines of, well, what if you want to use this for in an act of dissidence? Which basically meant, what if you want to use this for black magic or to harm others? And at that point, I kid you not, the room just went silent. I couldn't hear anything for a couple seconds, and he went back to staring right at me after he asked this question. And I know that the teacher was kind of going, well, you know, she was kind of stumbling through her answer, which I didn't hear all of because I couldn't. And as he's staring at me directly, I was panicking. I was like, this guy obviously asked that question because he wants to harm me in some way. It was very intense. I think before this, if someone would have asked me about psychic vampires or psychic attacks, I would have said, like, no, that's silly, don't pay attention to it, why would anyone want to hurt you, whatever. But at this point, I felt like I was being psychically attacked. All of the blood just went to like my feet, and I felt very pale and shaky, and I didn't want to leave the class because I didn't want to seem rude to the teacher, who I'm sure could see what was going on. But, you know, she also didn't look at me like, hey, you can go. You know, I was kind of looking for her to give me some sort of out with her eyes, and that didn't happen. So I'm kind of panicking, and I'm using what I have learned through my experience with astral projection and with sleep paralysis, where if there's a negative person or a negative entity, sorry, that's my cat, I don't know if you can hear him, if there's a negative entity, you want to send it love. So the first thing I do is I just try to send him love in my mind. I'm just like, love, 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 and I'm trying to create this like love ball with my mind and send it to him, and it wasn't working, or at least I didn't feel better, and he was still locked onto me. And so I, created this imaginary wall, brick wall, don't get your energy near me kind of thing, and I was still feeling very upset, and I didn't know what his intentions were. So at this point, I'm kind of looking at the door like, I don't know, should I leave? What's going on? I really want to be here. At this point, there's a knock at the door, and I look over, and it's that woman that I had sat down with, that psychic woman, and she's saying, come here, come here. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my out. So I pack up all my stuff real quick, and I say sorry, and I leave, and I open the door, and I shut it, and I'm just like, oh my God, thank you. And she goes, I'm so sorry. I came over here because I was missing my clipboard, and for some reason I thought maybe you had it, but I realize now that was kind of silly, and of course you don't have it. And I'm like, no, I don't have it. But I thought it was so interesting that something compelled her to come and knock on the door, and also something compelled me in the first place to go sit with her before the class. So the universe kind of works in funny ways, right? So I was still in kind of like panic mode, and I went outside. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, this just happened. I don't know what to do. I really don't want to leave, because I felt like he was going to win, and I didn't want him to take my power away from me by winning some sort of psychic war or whatever. And my mom was just like, as women, we pick up on these things. Just leave. You don't feel safe. Just go. So reluctantly, I did leave, and I went home, and I just couldn't shake the feeling of like this bully basically trying to show some sort of power over me. So I went home, and I smudged all my clothes with sage, just did like a cleansing, and I drew a bath, and I put in some Epsom salts, and I put in some black tourmaline, the crystal that's supposed to be protective. So I just popped those right into the bath with me, and I started doing Reiki healing on myself. And I went from my crown chakra into, my third eye, into my throat, into my heart, and I did all of the full Reiki treatment on myself in the bath. And I started feeling better. And then I decided to ask what I call my spirit guides or angels, whoever is out there in the astral realm that I've met before. I asked them, I was going to ask some question along the lines of like, why did this happen? Who is this guy? And as I'm forming the question, I don't even get it out yet, when I heard very distinctly in my ear this voice say, if you can see the power of the negative, you can then trust your positive. And it was just clear as day in my ear, and it wasn't a way I would have worded a sentence. So I thought about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, all these times that I do Reiki or I do this energy work, there's part of me that's like, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if I'm doing anything. This work with intention and positive vibes, maybe it's for nothing. And I think that. And I wonder that if I'm just wasting my time, or, if everyone's just getting better because of the placebo effect. But after I heard that, I thought, that's so true. I just witnessed this negative thing that energetically affected me. So if I can witness that, then I could trust that the positive that I put out there is also being felt. And that was a really powerful lesson to me, and I'm very grateful for it. And I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what that person was trying to do, or if my guides wanted me to have that experience. I don't know if they wanted that or not. But that good thing did come from that experience. And I think it's something we could all learn from. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope that if you ever come in contact with something like that, that you know to leave. I felt like I was going to hurt someone's feelings, and just don't feel like that, just leave. No one's going to think too much of it. Maybe they think you have to go to the bathroom or something. I don't think their feelings are going to be hurt too much. Just go. And, do what you can. And everyone just be kind to each other. And thank you for hearing my story. I hope it